Oregon kicks off their season tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Yes.
The mighty Bobcats of Montana State are in town.
Now, we talked about this last year with Idaho, and Idaho put a scare in them. But
They did.
is always going to be, for me, you prefer the build-up game where you blow a lesser-than opponent, or...
As long as it goes according to plan, yes.
Does the opening game of the season need to be
Texas,
a good
Ohio
matchup?
State.
Yeah,
I mean,
not even that level, but formidable.
Nebraska, Cincinnati.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, that would be like Oregon opening with Oklahoma State, right? Where you're like, yeah, okay,
if Oklahoma State was
it's a
first,
program I've heard of.
What about Utah? Like Oregon-Utah revival.
I'd be okay with it, reviving the old Pac-12 rivalry.
That'd be something great.
I'd be fine with it. Look, as long as you're only playing one of them, it's fine. And as long as you do what you're supposed to do, it's fine. Because I think there are things that you can accomplish out of it. All the young guys that should play. I get from a non-Oregon fan base standpoint why nobody really cares about this game. I don't blame you at all. Insert, Georgia playing, Marshall this weekend or whoever they're playing.
Missouri yesterday.
Dude, if you're not a fan of the team, I don't blame you at all for not wanting to watch it and not wanting to care about it. And we all know what the conclusion of the game likely will be.
Sure.
I will say for a year where there are so many news, and I'm also a sicko, so, take this with a grain of salt. There's Dante Moore. Do you leave the game? Not that if he looks great, it means he's going to be great, but is it a question mark at the end of the game? Are there moments where you're like, ooh, that wasn't a good throw? Ooh, why'd you throw that
stat line, though, that exists for you to walk out and go, I don't know yet?
Does he throw two picks? Does he, is there those kind of moments where you still win the game, but you're like, that wasn't good? Does DeCorian Moore look like a game changer at wide receiver? Does he have a bunch of big plays? Does he look explosive in the open field? How does the offensive line gel together? Do you have your issues blocking like you did last year? I think an underrated storyline going into the game is what's the running back rotation? Mekhi Hughes gets all the headlines coming into the year because of the transfer status and what he did at Tulane. Mm-hmm. But Noah Whittington looked great at the end of the year, and they love their freshman running backs. Does one of those guys get some primetime carries before it's a blowout? So don't blame me at all. I know you'll watch it because of the job, and we'll talk about it on Tuesday.
Yeah.
For non-Duck fans who don't want to watch, I don't blame me at all, but as a Duck fan who's just excited to have his team back playing again, there are a lot of things that I will take away from tomorrow's game.
Every fan base can relate to and sometimes our teams are not very good, but for the fan bases that have excitement, we all have a week that we're like, Oregon State's got a few of those weeks.
This game coming in like week 7, totally different. The only reason there's intrigue in it is because it's the first game of the year.
See, the other funny thing is come Tuesday when we talk about everything we're about to watch, right? I think a world exists where you don't come in and you put a stamp and say, Dante. I think Dante could have 230 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah, it's not a conclusion.
It's not like world beating. I think DeCorian Moore could have 4 catches for 60 yards, and maybe those things make you come in and go, yep, they're legit. But it's also the opponent that if that is the case, you're going to go, that's a nice little game, but you're not going to feel like over the moon because of who they beat and what it took to beat them.
Well, and I also think there's the potential they could rush for 400 yards.
Exactly.
If,
no doubt about it.
If the offensive line has their stuff together and wants to and learned from last year, that's in the back of their minds. And like you've said, there's 5 or 6 running backs that could legitimately see the field.
You don't need to show shouldn't theoretically need
to
show a lot.
No, you don't want to show a lot. And if
away.
they're just blowing them off the line of scrimmage, I could see them, let's keep it on the ground. And we'll throw a little bit to work on, plays and formations and timing. But
this is a game you're expecting to see Novosad in, right?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. I mean, I think you'd say that about a lot of the young guys. I did say that last year and it didn't turn out well. So we'll see if it pans out that way this year. It's not even necessarily about like anybody who comes away with a positive conclusion of like, oh, he did this against Montana State, therefore X, Y, and Z will follow.
Sure.
It's more about not having a concern coming out of the game. Does that make more sense? Like not leaving the game being like, that might be a problem.
But I think
we did that last year, and they ended up almost being winning the Joe Moore Awards, the best offensive line. But at the conclusion of that game, it was like,
they couldn't block Idaho.
That might be a problem. I don't know about that. So that's all I'm looking for. Of like, did we just come out of the game? You do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
There's not a glaring red flag of like, dude, what's going on at D tackler? What your linebackers were nowhere to be found, or Dante Moore threw 3 picks.
You don't have a mess of false starts. With the
penalties
line
or dumb moments or turnovers. Just don't have any major red flags coming out of the game. Play a lot of your young guys, and all right, let's go see what you do against Oklahoma State.
Just go out there and execute.
Yes, simple. Football's football, don't you know?
Football, yeah. What did Lanning say yesterday to Isaac and Suk? He said something like,
it was close.
Football winning football is
Winning-
winning football.
something
I
like
think
that,
yeah,
yeah.
winning football is winning football.
I
we
thought
got-
that was a great line.
Yeah.
We got one from Randy McMichael this morning.
Randy
Football
McMichael
is
gave us a
football.
football is football.
He did get. Did you pull it?
I'll get it.
We need to throw that on the board.
We should throw it on the board. Can you see if I think Buck pulled the Lanning one of like winning's football is winning football.
I think that's their challenge every week is to try and get him to say football is football.
Yeah.
And he's done it a couple of times, but they were hoping to get one out of the gate early. And winning football is winning football is that applies.
I enjoyed the conversation they had with him. He was in a good mood, and so you can catch that at 105.1. He'll be on every Thursday at 4. I just also love how good of a mood he was in. One, it is a little, no matter what he says publicly, it's a little bit of like all right, let's ease into this season because this opponent's restarting and they are a much lesser than
For sure.
opponent. But I love the nature of which he was at yesterday versus where is he at by week 7.
Ripping your head off for a certain
Well, not
question.
ripping your head off,
Depending
but
on how the year's going.
yeah, not willing to like dive into as many fun things maybe at that point.
Winning football is winning football.
There it
Yeah,
is.
winning football is winning football.
He ain't wrong. All right. Before we get to Oregon State, because I'm going to talk about them next, and then we'll at the end of the third hour, do a little Washington State thing. I'm all over the place. Let's do this team by team as we preview them. Give me Brandon Sprague, Jason Swigard, Andy Dur Johnson, third person.
Yep.
Win-loss prediction. What do we got?
For the
The
Ducks?
University of Oregon.
Ooh, for the
Fighting Mighty
regular
Ducks.
season.
I'm going to say
Re-
10
not,
and 2.
No bowl games or playoffs included. Regular
10-2.
season.
10 and
2.
I got 10 and 2.
10 and 2. Swag.
11-1. They will be in the Big Ten championship game.
Now, it should be noted.
Take note. I know.
Swag nailed it. Swag went 13-0
100%.
last year, and after 2 games, everybody's like, ha ha, look at that idiot. And then
He didn't abandon either.
No, stay
we
the
did
course.
flip it or stick it halfway through the
Yeah.
year, and you
I
stuck with it.
Stuck it.
Flip it or stick it, by the way, for those new.
Yes, you
As you stuck it, it's like we get to the midway point of the season, we give our preseason predictions, and we're asking each other, you staying with that prediction or are you jumping off? Come
And
and
then-
on the kick drum.
And then we let it. I keep both records in there so we can make fun of a bad flip because maybe you might flip because you lose confidence,
Yeah.
but then the team hits their stride. It's like, dude, you should have stayed the course. Why'd you sell the stock?
I give him credit, too, because after Idaho, I think I was like, dude, you going to stick with that prediction?
What the hell? I too will go 11-1. I think they lose at Penn State at the end of September, and Washington, if they had them early in the year, I'd be more scared. But depth is the concern at Washington. It's the last game of the regular season.
Yep.
USC on the road at Autzen, like good luck, Lincoln
I am
Riley. They
not
haven't
scared
beaten
of
Oregon
Iowa.
in a decade. I am not scared of Iowa and their lack of offense. It might be ugly like Wisconsin, but that one doesn't terrify me. Did we watch Rutgers last night?
I'm circling.
Yeah, you got to go to Piscataway, but
Yeah.
did you watch
I don't
Rutgers
know.
last night?
I don't know if they're going to get a competitive game at home all year.
See, 3 games I'm circling are 2 home games.
Indiana? Are we at
Indiana
Bayern
with
Indiana?
Mendoza. Let's
Yeah.
see what that looks like. I know you have more Jimmies and Joes, and I understand it's a first-year quarterback. Lincoln knows offense, so I'm just kind of curious to see what USC is. Maybe not this week and maybe the next couple weeks. And I will go back to the Washington game. I agree with your depth point. I think that's a major concern.
Early in the season, I would be more scared of playing them like in Seattle in early October.
But if they're healthy and they've hit a little bit of a stride, that's the end of the season. Like, that's the point where if they're healthy going into it in Seattle, if Oregon had a loss at that, I circle that one as well.
Jed Fish will be applying for the Florida job at that point.